the first deal, essentially what you were trying to do was raise money because your whole thing was you don't want to use your own money. You want to continue to do this.
Let me clarify. I didn't have any money.
Right. I had no money to use.
Yeah, whether I wanted to or not, there was no option to use my money.
But you wanted another property.
Exactly.
Yo, you're listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. It's about time that we invest more in our financial literacy and work towards building generational wealth. If you think you're ready to do the same, then you've come to the right place. Alex, Marlon, y'all ready? Let's get this bread.
What's good, everybody? It's Alex Camuña here, and we are back with episode 124 of the Money Monopolizers podcast, and I'm here with my co-host, Marlon Walls. Marlon, how you doing today, bro?
I'm doing excellent, man. I got a lot of things on my mind, to be honest, right now. But one thing I did want to share with you is that, we talked about profit first a couple episodes ago, right?
Right.
We finally got to implement it officially for the first time. As far like we as in the business, because we finally filed our taxes, and we were able to see how much we had to pay in taxes. The best thing is that we had money sitting aside for it, like a whole bunch of money.
Did y'all have excess?
Way excess.
That's the best part.
I was so hyped. So now that means that we were able to just pay off all of our taxes. I actually got me a little bit of a refund because I had we had the W-2 before, so I was able to get a little bit of a refund. My dad, it's like $1,000 or $2, but we had like 10,000 just saved up.
Right.
So now all of that is like excess that we get to put towards like just put it back into the business. Some can be like extra money that we can pay ourselves with, but really it's all that's going back into the business to help us start reinvesting now. So I'm super excited for all of like just seeing all that come to fruition.
Bro, that's the whole reason. That's why we talked about it that whole episode. If y'all don't know about that profit first strategy episode, what was that, 112, I think?
Yeah,
something like that. I don't know. Or one of the recent ones.
It was definitely it was recent, more recent.
Yeah, I think it was like 118, something like that. But we talked about that strategy, and that was the same thing he talked about in the book. It was like, yo, if you put money aside for taxes the right way, you might have some excess that you can use to pay yourself or whatever the case may be. Reinvest back into the business, grow the business, or it's just profit. So that's the whole point of it. So that's dope.
Episode 120. Just went back and looked at it. Y'all better go check that episode out, because like I said on the episode, a lot of people would be real sad. They make it to tax season, they don't have no money to pay it with. So now they like, hey man, might need to get a loan to pay my taxes.
Bro, it's like when them people that you make a lot of money in the stock market or whatever, but they trying to tax you on it, and now it's like I got to sell my assets to pay taxes.
That's a fact.
Which is crazy. So implement profit first. So yeah, that's dope. You did your taxes already too?
Man, listen, I've been on that. I wanted to, because I really wanted to see like what we would have to pay in general. Yeah. That way I would be able to like have peace of mind and then like move the business forward with all that. So yeah, I really wanted to get that done. And I actually got my refund today. Like right before we started recording, like my refund came in.
W-2 last year.
Yeah, it's like everything came through because I filed it on my personal and I'm good to go. So
that's dope.
I'm glad I had that done and out the way. But so that's one of many things. But how are you?
I'm doing good, man. Happy to be out here again in Houston, Texas. Shout out to Houston, man. We got a dope episode for y'all every time we come out here.
That's a fact.
It's we got something special for y'all. But it was good, man. I was on the way over here. I was driving and I was listening to this book, Atomic Habits, by James Clear. Yeah, and it was crazy because he was talking about this whole concept in the book of like your goals don't matter, right? Results don't necessarily matter. And it was interesting because I was talking about that too last week because I just came back from Miami and I was over there because it was too cold out here. So I went to Miami last week.
I saw you post on the story about that. Like, hey, y'all be easy in Texas.
Yeah, bro. It was like literally that morning I left. It was 19 degrees. I was like, nah, bro, I'm out of here.
Y'all freezing out there in San Antonio. It wasn't that bad out here in Houston, but yeah.
Bro, it was bad. And then I landed, it was like 80 degrees. And I was like, let me put this on my story. People was pissed. But
that's crazy, man.
It was funny. But no, I was over there last week and I was talking to someone about that too, telling them about like, this whole concept of like, your goals they're not like, I think people put too much emphasis on their goals, especially like in the beginning of the year. And I'm going somewhere with this, right? Because essentially what he talks about in the book is like the concept of your goals not mattering, right? And so I thought about that, and it was really intuitive to me, just because I was talking about it last week, but I was also thinking about it just in a deeper context, right? Because I think a lot of people focus so much on their goals, like just a lot of people, you want to lose 10 pounds, you want to lose 20 pounds, you want to lose 30 pounds, whatever the case may be. Most people focus on that so much rather than actually focusing on the systems that are going to get you to that ultimate goal, right? Because at the end of the day, the goal is just a temporary place that you're just going to get to, but the actual systems is what's going to actually change your life, right?
Yep.
So it's like a system for, wanting to lose weight or gain muscle or something is making sure that, I meal prep so that when I get off of work, I'm tired, I don't stop and end up in a Chick-fil-A drive-thru. That's a system, right? Or make sure I go to bed early and waking up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym. That's a part of my system, right? I went to bed so I could wake up early, or I went to bed early so I could wake up early. That's a part of my system, right? Or even in the context of like what we talk about, a lot of people want to get financial freedom. A lot of people want to, make $1 million, whatever the case may be, but they focus too much on that.
Right.
And it's like a lot of people ask me, it's like, how did you make $400,000 last year in your business? And a lot of people, what do I always talk about on this show?
The formula?
No. What in terms of business, what is the thing we always talk about?
Man, this is so many things. I would say action. Okay, systems for sure.
And SOPs.
Yeah. SOP. Oh yeah,
systems
sure.
and SOPs. It goes back to it, bro.
We got a lot of principles on this show. I don't know if you know or not, but systems is one.
But that's it goes back to what I was just saying. It's like I didn't get the 400,000 because that was my goal. It wasn't even my goal. My goal was significantly less than that. The reason I was able to get that was because of the systems that I had. You know how thorough the systems are. The systems are hundreds of pages for the business. So the business operates on a very strict set of SOPs and systems.
Right.
Whenever I implemented that, now the business was able to surpass the goal. The goal becomes irrelevant because the systems is what was actually driving the goals. And so I think you could apply that to really any principle. And I don't know, I was just thinking of that, and then I thought of that quote by Bill Walsh. He said, "The score takes care of itself." That's right. So meaning like, if I'm a an athlete or something, your goal is to win the game, but you don't win the game by focusing on the score. I'm not gonna sit here and look at the scoreboard. That's not gonna help me win the game. I'm gonna win the game by doing this, putting the systems in place, going to practice, showing up. Those are the things that's gonna help me win the game, right? At the end of the day, like, the winners and the losers, they both had the same goal. But the goal is not what set them apart. It's the systems, right? Because if they both had the same, if the goal was what set them apart, they both would have won, but they didn't. So anyways, I just went on a rant. I don't want to get too much into that. What we want to do now is kind of transition into our show, get into it, especially, because obviously we got a guest today, so we want to get the show moving. But what we'll do first is get into our business updates real quick, and then we'll kind of get into the interviews.
It's time. I guess I got my swagger back. Keep them posted.
Marlon, it is now, what are we now? Pushing the end of February now. The year is actually moving pretty fast. It's 6-7 weeks into the year.
I thought you said January moves slow, but now you're saying it's moving fast though.
I mean, I don't know. It's just February is moving. I feel like it's already halfway through.
Facts.
But how have things been for you since, we last talked a couple weeks ago in the business and stuff like that?
A lot. To be honest,
please keep it brief.
I'm definitely about to keep it brief. I'm gonna just save it for future episodes or something. But yeah, it's a lot going on. But I just want to say shout out to the business coach, because a lot of what's happening right now is because we decided to get that coaching back in December.
So again, what for those that don't know, what business are you in?
So first off, we're in the rental car business. When I say we, I'm talking about me and my dad. We actually got into the business together back in 2020. We built our fleet up to 13 cars last year. We have a total of 10 right now, looking to really expand to over 100 this year. But there's a whole structure that's in place now, or like a whole process that's in place in order to make that possible. And it's becoming more and more refined. It's becoming more evident that what I thought was the route to get there before is actually changing dramatically, as far as like being just seeing how things are in place that we weren't seeing before. Like, I guess I'll put that into words. Like, we have a lot of connections that we weren't necessarily utilizing. And like, so one thing I did was I connected with one person that is like in the exotic car space here in Houston, and he has like suppliers that's like giving him exotic cars. And on top of that, he's like, man, we can start partnering up with each other on different deals and stuff like that. And like, I could be either a referral, or I can like just utilize like his cars for like advertising and stuff. And that's going to just attract more high-end clients. That can attract, we're looking to do a lot, man, just to be honest. I'm gonna save a lot of it because it's about to get very intense.
Right.
And I'm just excited that we're starting to piece together the pieces of the puzzle. Because right now it's like a whole bunch of puzzle pieces in different areas. And now we're seeing how the puzzle can come
So what is
together.
the biggest thing going on? If you had to say one big thing right now that's going to move the needle that you're doing right now for the
building
business?
a team.
Building the team. Okay.
Building the team is going to be the biggest thing from here. So we're about to get. We actually got approved for funding, and that's going to allow us to just skyrocket, man.
Yeah,
I'm super excited for like the next 2 months.
Right.
It's about to be hyperdrive. So I would venture to say we might have like 5 to 10 team members like within the next couple of months.
Dope.
And so we're about to expand the structure big time. So I'm excited.
Love to hear it.
Yeah. So that's it for now. It's a lot that's upcoming, but a lot of good news in store. So that's me. What about you right now?
No, man, things have been going well for me. I'm again, for those that don't know, and you're new to the podcast, I have a janitorial business started in August of 2020. Last year we did 400,000 in sales for residential side, and this year we are looking to grow that to $1 million and get into the commercial cleaning as well. So I told y'all last time I had made a pretty large $50,000 investment into the hiring a sales and pretty much marketing team to get me more commercial leads, because it's a whole different ball game from the residential side. So now I'm starting to get appointments set to meet with customers or potential the leads that we're doing outreach on. It's kind of like in real estate looking for off-market properties. It's the same kind of concept. So now I'm meeting with a lot of these. I'm about to be starting meeting with a lot of these different people, because now they've finally got all my stuff set up. So they've been working in February, and I got like 5 meetings already set for this month. And my goal is really just to be able to close 20% of all the meetings. So they said, well, I'm gonna have 72 meetings, so I want to close 20% of that. Should be a good chunk of revenue that's gonna help me ultimately get to that that number we're trying to get to this year. So I don't know. We'll see how these things go. The meeting part is gonna be new to me. Meeting with these facility managers, company owners that need their facilities clean is gonna be a new thing to me. So that's gonna be something I'm gonna have to set systems around, because I don't want to be going to these meetings forever. So I'm gonna I plan to hire somebody that can do that, but I obviously have to have systems for that so that they know what to do when going into those meetings.
It's all about being intentional. Every time you go into the meeting, just think about what am I doing next and why am I doing everything. So as you're doing it, like that's for anything with SOPs. Like as you do something, document it along the way. I document the thoughts that are behind it. Even like us with this podcast setup, everything has a purpose. Yeah, document everything, and that allows you to replace yourself quickly.
And that goes back to what we were saying earlier. It's about the processes, the systems. Yeah. So it speaks more in volumes, more than anywhere in business. It speaks volume, because a lot of people get into business and you never get out your business because you never created systems outside of yourself. And so that is the most important thing. So yeah, man, that's kind of how things are going. I'm looking to definitely keep consistent with that, and we'll kind of see how things go throughout this month. And I think this month will tell a lot as far as how the rest of the year will go, because it's completely new to me. So residential side is continuing to flourish. Now this commercial side is going to be it's the new challenge. So
yes, sir.
We'll see.
And you're gonna overcome it too. I know. I just thought like something random. Your boy that left a comment on you about your goals. How you feeling? How you feeling right now?
Oh man, yeah. I don't even want to really get into that, but like it was, sure. Yeah. So somebody. I told somebody. There was a clip on Instagram where I was saying how the business was able to do 50,000-60,000 last year per month. I want to get to a point where it can do $1 million a month. Yep. Right. And so I said this, and some person comments, it's like, oh man, yeah, $1 million a month. Usually you talking, but bro, you're capping now. And I'm like, bro, bet. That's all I said. I was just like, bet.
I love seeing
and it's just crazy. First of all, $1 million a month is $12 million a year. So it's not even like that big. Like it's not a big thing. I mean, it's big, but it's like,
it's not like it's unreachable though.
It's not like, bro, I didn't say I'm trying to make $100 trillion, bro. I just said $1 million a month. It's a pretty attainable goal, especially the way I've been pacing. So it's like, come on, man. But yeah, that little thing, it's like a nobody I don't even know to do, but
facts.
I'm gonna remember it. I'm gonna remember it.
I put a whole thing on my story just because of that, man. So I know what that did. So yeah, bro. I'm excited just to see the end result now.
Yeah, I was just like, I bet. So. But yeah, we'll talk about that later when we get to that. So
talk too much. Let's get on with it.
Yeah, we got a treat for y'all today, though, man. I'm so excited for our episode today and for our guests that we got for y'all today. Like I said, we are in Houston, and Houston to me has probably some of the best real estate investors that I've seen, especially, you know, within this whole financial freedom entrepreneurship community, like on Instagram and social media. They have some of the best. And today, you know, we got a special one for y'all because this dude that I'm sitting next to, this dude that I'm here with, he's 25 years old now. He's got his start in real estate a couple years ago through house hacking. I don't want to tell his whole story, but he's killing it. And the reason I was so excited to get this guy on the podcast was because honestly, I love finding people when they're still like kind of under the radar and like, you know, they're still growing, because people that are obviously taking action and doing things, but like I can see this dude being the next Don Peoples, to be honest. And he's shaking his head right now. Y'all can't see. He's a very humble guy. But this guy, I mean, I don't know if y'all know who Don Peoples is, but he's a big time real estate developer. I know he knows who Don Peoples is. He kind of looked like him too. I'm not even gonna lie. But no, man, we got Donovan Adesoro on the show today. How you doing today, bro?
Good, man. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, man, we excited for this. Did I say your name right, by the way? Adesoro?
Yeah, Donovan Adesoro.
Adesoro. Oh, I smoked that.
Yes, sir. That's all good.
You got where you from? Where's your dad from?
Dad's from Nigeria.
Nigeria. Okay.
You know it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, are you mixed?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Even though they got some light skinned Nigerians over there.
Yeah.
No, I'm mixed.
Because he got the curly hair too.
That's a fact, man.
Yeah, but the last name kind of told me. But no, that's dope. And there's something I actually. You say you got an African parent, so there's something I want to get into in the show about that. But I'll save that for a minute. But usually how we do start these shows, bro, we want to really just get into your background briefly and then get into like kind of how you got into obviously real estate investing, and then also how you got to like kind of where you are now, what you're doing today. Can you kind of just start off by going through that?
Definitely. Yeah. So I got started, a little over 2 years ago. I closed on my first property in April 2020. So right in the middle of pandemic.
Wait, so before that, take us a little bit before that.
Gotcha.
Like as far as like what you were doing, how did you even get into what made you want to get into real estate, all those things?
Yeah, no, good question. So I graduated 2019, started my full-time job down here in Houston. I'm in July, and just like everyone else, working that corporate grind, waking up at 5, getting in the office at like 6.
What were you doing?
Engineer at an oil company down here.
Got you.
So yeah, you know, just it got a little old pretty quickly. Like I have a really low tolerance for some stuff. Apparently, I didn't know this about myself, because I was like, so this is it. Like I gotta do this for the next 50 years until I'm 60. I was like, there's gotta be something else.
How old were you at that time?
23.
23.
Okay. So yeah, like a few months into the job, I'm on YouTube, like looking up drop shipping, looking up flipping websites, like how do I make more money. And real estate kept coming up, and then that's really what started it all, was finding stuff on YouTube, bigger pockets, obviously, like everyone else. And
so I love. I mean, it's pretty straightforward as far as like his like y'all hearing this. It sounds like it's pretty straightforward. But what I'm really seeing is like I have met so many young people, especially because this is what happened to us as well. It's like you graduate college, you get into the 9 to 5. Especially you were in engineering, we were both in engineering as well.
Right.
I was a civil engineer, he was mechanical, and it was kind of like you get into that, and it's like, whoa, this is it. Like, wait, this is what I went to school for. This is like what I'm supposed to do for the next 40 years. And so at that point, people have a decision. It's like I could either just say, okay, well, this is it, or it's like, okay, what I see you did was you questioned it. You said, well, what else could I like? What is the alternative?
Right.
And that's usually that one thing is literally what sets people apart. Because now the trajectory of your life literally changes because you question one thing. Right. It's like, oh man, why do I have to do this? Or like, this is just what I'm gonna do. Mm-hmm. So it's like you started like just searching different stuff on Google and like.
Yep. And like you said, like with an immigrant parent, as a lot of you know, they're like, hey, go get the engineering degree,
right,
and you work your ass off for the next 50 years like the rest of us.
Right.
So like when you question that, like you're gonna get a little pushback.
Yeah,
so it was tough to even make that decision to even look at something else, because it was like, that's what I worked my whole life for, right?
But was you weren't looking to like quit immediately, you were just looking for do something like supplemental, or like what was your idea?
Exactly, just something supplemental, something so I was saving money. Like I was making good money as an engineer, but I was living downtown, paying a good amount of my paycheck each month. I was like, I'm making all this money, I don't have anything left over each month. So I just wanted something on the side to kind of supplement that.
Right. Nah, that's real. So okay, so you start looking, going through drop shipping, all this stuff, the whole shiny object thing. It's like, oh, this looks good, this looks good. What made you like, what was the first thing you did actually? Was it real estate? Was real estate like the first thing, or like did you try something else?
I tried a lot of things. So I tried Forex. Man, let me tell you, I lost so much money doing that.
Really?
Like a lot of money to me at the time. So
Yeah.
I think at one point when I graduated college, I got like a $10,000 sign-on bonus. Most of that went towards like moving down to. I got a car and I moved down to Houston, so I bought furniture and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I had maybe like $3K in my account. So again, broke, right? I think I lost 1,500 of that on one trade.
Wow.
Bitcoin had dropped. I'm like, oh, it's going up. I levered that bad boy up like 200x, and that thing, it all went away. So
Wow.
Yeah, long story short, I tried a bunch of stuff and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Yep. So real estate was the one that made the most sense because of the house hacking piece. That's how I first got started. Was like, okay, I don't have any money, so I need something that's really low maintenance.
Right.
Right. And so one thing that I like just about like, because really I'm seeing a similarity between both of y'all as far as like the mentality when y'all first got into the workforce. Y'all immediately said, wait, is there any alternative to it? One thing I think is very beneficial about the day and age that we live in is that we are afforded the opportunity to question it, but also have solutions that we can go seek out. And I think that's one thing that we've had in this generation that a lot of other generations didn't have before us. And I think it's great to see that people are actually leveraging it now. So, and I love the fact that you're not afraid to fail and then continue to try something else. Because that failure that you said within Bitcoin and then with Forex, a lot of people have been like, man, I lose money when I do something, when I try something, or I can make money. I can get a $10,000 sign-on bonus. I can continue to get stable income. Now I'm gonna choose the route where I'm got stability. So as far as like your game plan now, as far as getting into real estate investing, like how did that start planning out? You said you started off with house hacking. Like what was your goal from there?
Yeah, so started off the Bigger Pockets podcast talking about house hacking, and then once I got into it, I said, okay, like now I got my first house. Now what? Like I didn't have any more money to do anything else. As you know, like putting 20% down on an investment property, that's a good chunk of money, like $70,000 in most cases for.
Was that your strategy? You just put 20% down?
No, I put 0% down.
So okay.
Matter of fact, yeah, maybe I should.
On the first house?
On the first house.
Oh wait, can you?
So explain the process. We want to learn how this works.
Texas.
Actually, I already know what you finna. No,
You
go
already
no.
know.
Go
You need to explain it though. I need you to
they
tell
don't know
them.
that.
They don't know
We
anything.
They don't know. You're right.
We're teaching right now.
I put it out there so much.
Yeah, I
but,
saw it though.
Yeah, so 0% down. This was through Cadence Bank at
Right.
the time. They unfortunately no longer have that program, but the bank that does is Bank of the Ozarks. So Bank OZK. In Texas, you can do 0% down on 1 to 2 units. So obviously, why get a single family when I can get a duplex and get income from the other side? So I took full advantage of that. Again, didn't have any money when I bought my first duplex, but because I put 0% down, I think I came to closing with like $3,000.
Wow.
Yep.
Bro, it's crazy. I just realized that was actually the first time I saw you. I heard of it. It was because you were talking about that on Twitter, and people kept like DMing me. It's like, hey, where's this? And you were replying. You were like, Bank of Cadence, Bank of Cadence, Bank of Cadence. And I was like, oh, let me look into this. And this was like, I think this was 2020. Maybe, it's 2020 whenever I saw that. That was the first time I saw it. And I was like, damn, this dude knows his stuff. And that was when I first followed you on Instagram. And then, like, it was obviously now we'll get into that, what you're doing now. But it was crazy, though, because, like, people don't realize there's a lot of different programs out there like that as far as, like, helping first-time home buyers get into their first-time especially now with, like, it's like one of the best economies. Obviously, it's completely manipulated, but it's still, like, one of the, best economies that we've had just, in a relative past. So there's so many different programs out there for 0%, and obviously even the most common is a 3.5% FHA, all these different things. But like for a 0% down to buy an asset, you went and bought an asset, a duplex. So was it like a new build duplex that you just bought out in Houston, or like what was the situation?
Yep, new build duplex right off the MLS. So I had been looking for like maybe 6 months before I found this one, and to point out, people are like, okay, what's the catch? Is 0% down?
Right,
like,
of course.
There's something wrong with it. So there's no PMI. People like go crazy when I tell
wow,
them this.
really?
No PMI.
So this was an LTI thing, right? With the low income track thing,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
So yeah,
So it needs to be in a low to moderate income tract. And so if you just Google low to moderate income tract for your city, you'll see a map, and it covers most places. So if you're familiar with Houston, like you probably can't buy it in the Heights.
No,
but like,
right.
really, but like anywhere else, really, like you can still buy it like north of the Heights, Third Ward, Sunnyside.
Yeah.
That's where I brought my property.
That's what I
Okay.
figured,
So new builds there.
So it's like an
0%.
incentive because you're buying in this area. Like they'll actually incentivize you. Because I'm trying to think about the rationale behind why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, so the reason why they do it is because the bank gets CRA credits, so community reinvestment credits from the government.
government.
So that's how they're essentially gap funding that more or less. What's really key on top of this is that there's no income cap.
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask. Yeah.
Yeah, with most 0% down, there's some sort of catch, like you got to make 80% of the area median income.
Right.
But as you know, us being engineers, we wouldn't qualify for any of that. So I was like, I need 0% down, but I'm still broke and I have a good job. Like, what can I do? What program is for me?
Right.
And so this one was perfect because you can make $1 million as long as your first house. You can put 0% down, no PMI.
That's not, when this was 2019, you said, or 20? 2020. Oh, you said this was what
April?
month?
I bought it in April of 2020.
Wow,
You
so this is
saw me tweet about it in last year, 2021.
Yeah, it's 2021 then. So yeah. Wow, this was at the height of the pandemic.
Right. This is
literally when it was like the stock market was at the all-time low. Or like,
which is why I got lucky. I should tell you that. So when that happened, my job had just cut our salary 30%.
Oh.
So, and they cut it while I was under contract. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, I'm not gonna get this house. I go and call my realtor, like, listen, I don't qualify anymore. So I tried to cancel the contract.
Really?
You tried, like, you took the initiative to try to cancel it.
I pretty much did. Yeah, I was like, listen, like, hey, I can't afford that no more. So luckily that the bank was like, listen, your 70% income still qualifies, debt to income. So I guess that was kind of good on me that I didn't have much debt, but at the same time, like, I was gonna stretch myself thin because I would have lost my earnest money if I would have, backed out at that point.
Right.
But I went through because listen, I ran the numbers. It makes sense.
That's my thing.
I'm gonna make it happen one way or another. So I just went through with it, and I'm so glad I did.
Yeah. But see, that to me, you didn't get lucky then. It's like, because I don't want you to discredit yourself saying that you got, and I also don't want people to say, he did it at that time. That's why he was able to do it. I can't do it. Yeah. So it's like the fact that you obviously, so you did the due diligence, all these kinds of things yourself to make sure that's like, I can still do this. And plus, even before that, I'm sure you didn't just, how long was it before? Because this is key too. From the point you got to your job and it's like, okay, this is trash, don't want to do this for the rest of my life, to the point where you got under contract, how long was that period from, like, and what were you doing? It was education, I assume, during that period, but how long was that period?
That was a good 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got a realtor in November of 2019.
Okay.
And didn't close on that house until April. So the whole time I was looking for duplexes, fell out of contract on a different one. So yeah, I was definitely in the market hustling, looking for deals.
And this was your first deal too, right?
First deal.
That's a big thing with this, because if it's somebody's first time, there's a lot of uncertainties. Like, I don't know what's possibly going to happen, and I see other people doing it. I don't know necessarily if it's going to work for me quite yet, though. So I can see that there could be nerves there as far as, am I going to be able to get a renter? Like, what if I don't? Then I might not be able to pay. But I'm very glad you took that jump, though, because that's literally the difference between the people that, like, that's the people that take action and people who take inaction. That's why other people are able to gain a certain level of success, because they decided to just take that jump after doing their due diligence. I'm very glad you did that part first, though.
And that's exactly how it was for us too. It's like, we were studying real estate, learning the real estate. I'm sure you did the same thing. We did listen to hundreds of Bigger Pockets podcasts, read the book on rental property investing, read the book on managing rental properties, all these different. I know we had the same story. And it's like those 6 months, it was 6 months for us too before we went under contract on that first property. Right. People you overlook that part and to say, I just got this property. Like, no, it was things that went into this before. Yep. So that's super key.
About to write a book called The 6 Month Formula right now.
To be honest. But now, man, so now you get into this property. Now you close on the house hack and all these kinds of things. And so we actually did an episode on house hacking, I think last episode. So we're not gonna actually like talk too much about the strategy. But essentially, what you were doing was you were able to live on one side of the duplex and rent out the other side, right?
Yep. And on top of that, just rent out the rooms on my side for some additional.
Okay, so here we go. So this is. I love this because we talk about this concept of comfortability versus profitability, right? And so it's like there's a spectrum on this, right? And so you essentially, because it was a new build duplex, very, very nice living situation. I'm sure it was granite counters, stainless steel appliances, all this stuff. You could have lived in one unit by yourself. It was, what was it, 3-2?
3-2 each side.
3-2 each side. Wow, you could have lived over there comfortably. That's on the spectrum. That's like first, we had a single family house on one side of the spectrum, right? Then you get the duplex where you live. Then you can go further in terms of like the profitability side and rent out the bedrooms, which is what you did, right?
Yep. And on top of that, I moved out of the master bedroom so I could get more money per month renting the master bedroom.
That's right, bro.
On Airbnb?
Yeah. So master bedroom Airbnb, rented out the other room as a long-term rental, and then I lived in the other small room, shared the bathroom, even though I didn't need to, because I was, like you said, comfortability versus profitability. I said, listen, I need all that. All of it. So I was willing to sacrifice sharing the bathroom. It was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But listen, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Man, are you still like living like that still?
I don't. So yeah, I got a little old, like sharing bathroom with people. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, man, let me just move back into. Well, the reason why is like there wasn't enough profitability in it, so like it was basically gonna be the same.
A point of diminishing return.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just moved back into the master.
That makes sense. But see, that's the key thing is you have options though. That's the good thing about house hacking. It gives you so many options. You can be anywhere on that spectrum and still be better than 99% of most people's in terms of like financially, right? You're not paying. How much was the mortgage on the property and what was like your income total after you like in your most profitable situation?
Yeah, most profitable situation. So PITI right now, so principal insurance, taxes, all that good stuff.
Yep.
Monthly payments $1,886. My current tenant is paying $1,475. I had a roommate paying $575 and a roommate paying $500.
So you was cash flowing about a good $500 a month, right?
Yeah,
that's
while you were living
$2,500
there.
right
yeah.
there.
And
On
that's
top of saving the $1,200 a month.
Yeah. So we can obviously look at that total return. It's almost infinite return based on $3,000 into the property. That's
So you say are you still living in that particular in that building though?
Still in that duplex.
You just switched over to the other room though.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, I got you now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, which is still very profitable.
Still
to me.
profitable. Yeah.
I mean, he was on. I'm surprised. I'm surprised he didn't do the camper in the driveway.
Hey, if I could afford a camper, I probably would have looked into it.
Or maybe
man.
I know Scott Trench. I don't know if you know Scott Trench
Yep.
on. He talked about he did the divider in the in the living room. And
Hey, that's a different level. I don't know if I'm not ready for
How
that.
uncomfortable can you get?
yeah, I'm like, all right, I want my sanity too.
Yeah,
That's a
right.
part of my ROI.
I got the shed in the back. I'll go see it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
He was pretty much homeless. But no, that's so powerful though, because those, man, we could talk about that all day, which there's so much we want to get into. But something like that, people don't realize the mindset behind that. It's like delayed gratification. Right. And I know you talked about, I saw actually one of your tweets, you were showing the car that you were driving. And it was like, I think it was a 2003 Hyundai or something. Is that the one you drove up here today?
No. I
Okay.
drove a different one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I saw you was talking about it, and then I think you said something like the tenants pulled up in a nicer car than you or something.
That was the realtor.
Oh, the realtor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The
There was a
realtor
tenant,
was
that'd
like,
been hilarious.
the realtor was like 21, so 4 years younger than me. He had this big old, probably $60,000 truck that
Man.
he pulled up to the visit with because we were trying to see a property, and I just showed like me versus the realtor just to give you people an idea of like, listen, I'm still hustling over here.
Yeah.
Delayed gratification.
Yeah, bro, that's the mindset. 25 years old. That's what, bro. You're single. I don't know if you're single or not, but like it's what you do right now. It's like what
I'm married.
Yeah, single.
I got a girlfriend. Right?
Yeah. Good distinction. But now, so now you get into the house hack. You live in there, you make money, cool. You're like, man, this is dope. I love real estate. This is amazing.
Yep.
Now I'm sure you get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm ready for the next deal. How does that what was your mindset now, like in terms of like your next deal or how you want to proceed?
Yeah, so I pretty much wanted to do the same thing. I was like, how can I get another property as quick as possible with as little amount of money as possible? So probably like 4 or 5 months after I got the first property, I was already trying to apply for a new loan, and all the lenders were like, dude, you only lived there for 5 months. Like,
Right.
No,
Another house hack?
Another house hack.
It's like, bro, this is good.
This is great. I was like, man, let's do this again and again. But they were like, listen, you've lived there for 5 months. You don't qualify.
Right.
And then also like from an income perspective, your debt to income is super high now because you got that big old mortgage payment.
Yep.
So they wouldn't offset it with the rent or like 75% or no?
Unfortunately not. So I think they will with like with the lease, but
okay.
I still think for what I was trying to buy, it wasn't going to be enough to make it work.
Your DTI was still too high.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So
Okay, so wait, was it a conventional loan on the first one or?
yeah,
was
that's
just
another good thing. That's
yeah.
conventional. So when, as you know, like making offers with FHA, people,
Yeah.
it's not as attractive.
Right,
But now
right.
with the 0%, it's actually conventional. So the realtors, when the listing realtor will be like, "Is this real?" They're gonna probably question you.
Yeah.
And you just, hey, call my lender. They'll tell you.
Yeah, straight
Yeah.
up. And so because I know, okay, on your second property, were you trying to do a FHA on the second, or were you trying to just do another conventional or what?
I think I tried to do another conventional. I tried to get another 0% down with a different bank. 'Cause
Oh,
the way it
okay.
works is once you get that 0% down with Cadence, you can't do any more loans with them.
Right.
Because
Right.
I was asking them, like, hey, could I get another one? This is kind of good.
Y'all treated me pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, like we got something going on here. Like,
Yeah.
nope, you only get one loan with us. So I tried to go
Dang.
to a different bank.
Right.
But same issue ran into. So
Yeah.
DTI.
Okay, so now obviously I know, just because I know I know your story, that wasn't the end of it. Obviously you didn't say, okay, well, got my one deal and, I'm good now. I'll just work my job. What happened now at that point where you, said, I can't do this? How did you proceed? What was Donovan thinking now?
Yeah. So from there, as you guys know, on Bigger Pockets, they're always talking about burr.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, like I want to get into some flips, some burrs somewhere in Houston. So I'm looking at all these deals like on these Facebook groups, and I just can't make the numbers work on the flips. And so I'm getting land deals every once in a while. I'm like, I wonder what it would be to like just build one of these. How much would it be? And I'm doing the numbers like, okay, I could buy the land for like 40, construction's like 200, and I could sell them for like 290, 300. Like that's a pretty decent gross margins there. Then if you lever it up with the construction loan, like there's really something to do. So that's when I started like really getting into it. Like, okay, now I just need the money to buy the land and I'll be good to go.
Right. So that's so crazy because I know a lot of people, it's like they think about development and then they think about like from house hacking to development seems like
a big step.
A huge like it's like, okay, so I missed something in between here. Like maybe was I supposed to get a couple birds like you said, or what the case may be. So what made you think like actually I could actually do development instead of just flip? Because in theory, actually thinking about it, actually is more logical to like actually do a development deal as far as like your all-in costs and everything like that. It actually would be a lot more straightforward. The thing is a lot of like things where you're gonna I feel like a lack of experience with development can make development look really scary initially.
Yeah.
Because it's just a complete flipping is one thing, but development can just because you got to get permits and like all these things. What made you feel like I can actually like do development and start building these duplexes instead?
That's a good question. I still looking back, it was kind of crazy to do that. Like you said, it's a pretty big jump. But I was seeing other developers do it in the area, like build duplexes in same area, Sunnyside, South Park.
Right.
I'm like, I mean, they can't be too much smarter than me. Like they may be smarter than me, but like, why can't I do it? That's really all it was. It was like, they can do it, I can do it.
And so I love that too, because it's almost like ignorance is bliss to a degree.
Yep,
because it's like you didn't know what you might have like didn't know, because maybe if had you known kind of what went into it a little more, it's probably would have like, yeah, maybe I'm not ready for that. I'm sure now it's like, wow, would you even recommend someone getting into development straight up, or like just keep it 100? Like, what would you?
Listen, I mean, if you have a good enough team, but don't do what I did. I had like no experience, no mentor to lean on, no one to ask questions to. Yeah. It was just me Googling stuff, calling the city, calling the contractor, trying to figure stuff out. That was like not the best way to do it, but listen, too late now, right? We're here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But see, now I love that. So then how did you get started? Like, what was your first development deal? Well, actually, first, before we get into that, can you tell us actually how many development deals you've done today? And then we'll tell us kind of where you are today as far as like your portfolio and your business. And then we'll come back to like how you actually do things.
For sure. So I think as of today, we've closed on like 20 lots just with different investors.
No. Hold on a second.
But so we finished the first one in December that we refinanced. That's on, it's probably posted on my Instagram, that one. Then there's a few more finishing, 6 more under construction. 1 is finished, 13 are in permitting, and then under contract on one right now in the U of H that I'm trying to raise money for. So depending on when this comes out,
Yeah, all right, Mr. Humble. So you got the first house hack you got in April 2020, right? We are just starting 2022, so we only had like about a year and a half the time frame that this all happened. Mm-hmm. How, like, I guess, what was your first step as far as getting into development, but like more so, how did you start scaling this quickly?
Wait, so you've done 20, you've closed on 20 lots. How many of those were flips? How many of these are rentals? Like, do you still own those 20, or like, what does it look like?
Still own those 20. Yep.
Okay.
So the one, we only finished the one because it's like a 12-month
build
from close to finish.
Got you.
So we closed 1 and 6 are under construction, and then 13 of those are in permitting.
So, and you're pretty much refinancing all of them, cash out refi, and then
some of them we're gonna sell, just because the market's so hot. But yeah, the goal is like long term. Some of these ones that are in permitting right now, we want to hold most of those.
Okay.
Right. And man, there's so much I want to get into. But I assume you're because you say you're raising money for them, so you're JVing on them, and then splitting equity with the investors, right?
Exactly.
Man, I absolutely love it. So. Sorry, Marlon. What was? I know I read it. What were you saying?
It's like about getting to that first one. Like, what is the requirements of getting into a deal? Because you did it one time, but now you've done it 20 times. Mm-hmm. So, like, what is like the first steps that somebody should be taking in order to get into a development deal, as opposed to like a house hack?
Or how did your first one look too?
Yeah. So the first thing for me, and what I recommend to people is like you need to figure out what you want to build. So is it a duplex? Is it a single family home? How many bedrooms, baths do you want? And what I did, I just looked on the MLS. What I did, I basically copied the one I live in because this one makes sense. 3-2, I like it. I'm sure other people will like it.
Right.
So I went to that same architect, like, listen, how much would you charge me to run the plans for this, to make the plans? And so once I have that down, okay, now I got my permitting and my architectural piece taken care of. Now I just got to figure out the GC and then the money to buy the land. So the GC just started networking with a bunch of people on these Facebook groups, contractors, trying to meet them at their sites, doing what I can to vet them. Let me tell you, man. Listen, I thought I was a good judge of character. I'm not a good judge of character. Like you need to really get some referrals for that. So again, another huge mistake I made, but we got it done. So yeah, then once I got the contractor, it's okay. All I need is the money for the land, put the land down as collateral for the construction loan, and I'm good to go. And so I put together a presentation. As you know, as an engineer, that's basically what you
can do that.
Yeah, we can do that, no problem. So I did that. I went on Real Estate Rookie.
Okay.
Went on like some apartment website, was just talking to different investors. Probably like 60 of them told me no. So I finally got that one that said yes. So, and then we started from there.
This is your first deal?
First deal.
Man.
60.
He got told 60 times no.
I was probably a little bit of an exaggeration, but yeah, multiple 40 plus for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
The first deal, essentially what you were trying to do was raise money because your whole thing was you don't want to use your own money. You want to continue to do this.
Let me clarify. I didn't have any money.
Right. I had no money to use.
Yeah, whether I wanted to or not, there was no option to use my money.
But you wanted another property.
Exactly.
And this is what I love about your story the most. Because the thing about real estate, what I've realized, especially because we've done a lot of deals, we've raised money for flips and rental properties and those things as well. And one thing you realize is that if there's a deal out there, the money will find it.
Right.
For sure. If it's a good enough deal, especially in this market where money's literally everywhere, money will find it. So essentially the land itself on that first one, were you like getting it from wholesalers or like where were you, like how were you sourcing the actual land?
Yeah, the first one actually came from a pocket listing from a realtor. So I found a realtor that was selling similar lots in the area. So I called him up and said, hey, next time you get something like this, let me know.
Right.
And so, I don't know, a few weeks later, he had sent me a few. He said, listen, I got the guy who's selling 3 lots. I said, so I could only take down 1 at the time. And that's when I started like seriously trying to raise the money because now I had something like tangible, like actual deal.
Right. So you mentioned that. So you're trying to raise the money essentially to buy the land, and then you were going to use the land as collateral for the construction costs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. So that is so what? That's super creative though. Just because who knew you could even use land as collateral?
Right.
I didn't know either. So I started calling all these hard money lenders. I said, hey, I want to build this duplex. It's like 2,000 square feet. I think the cost is going to be X amount. How do I do that? He's like, well, we can finance the land and the construction, or if you buy the land in cash, you can put that down as collateral. So again, I didn't know.
So you just needed the land.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to ask that about like why was everybody else saying no in the first place, and so like and what made the other person say yes? That's kind of the reason why, because of the collateral.
No, not even. So I'd pitched the same thing to multiple people. They were like, dude, you have no money. You have no experience.
That makes sense.
You have no skin in the game. You don't have any construction background. Your family doesn't own any real estate. Like, why would I trust you with my 50, 60 grand?
So it's really about somebody giving you a shot.
Basically, yeah. So like I try to say is like I put the emphasis on the deal. I was like, listen, don't worry about me. Like, let's say if I'm projecting a 40% return to you, if you only make 30, you're still doing okay.
Right.
So that's why I got the first one.
And that's the beautiful thing about real estate. It's like you just said it. Don't worry about me. Obviously, it's like, you're not saying like, you could just be a fool and just, go raise money. But like to the degree, people lend based off of hard money, private money. Private money is more relationship, I'm sure, as you know now. But it's kind of like a lot of times money will find it if the deal is good enough. Worry about the quality of the deal. So if your job as a real estate investor is finding quality deals, putting together quality deals, money will then come to you.
Exactly.
So I'm sure that's kind of what you realize or what you kind of do now, especially for your bigger deals that you get into and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So so you raise the money for the land, you buy the land, and then you get. I mean, first to even like pull that off is kind of crazy. Like, honestly, just thinking about it, it's like getting told no 40 times for the same reason, like having no experience, no money, no background, and then to continue to persist. What made you like not actually even want to quit? Like, continuing to ask people, because a lot of 99% of people are quitting.
To be honest, I felt you was hard-headed as a kid, man.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's the thing is when we talk about the immigrant parents.
Yeah,
we could get into that, but yeah, I'm super hard-headed. So yeah, it's like I'm super stubborn, but yeah, so I got the first deal. I still remember it. I was back home in Minnesota over vacation, and the investor, because we had talked about it. Basically, the way it would work is I was sending them the presentation, and then we would, they would ask any questions, and at the end they would be like, yeah, the deal makes sense, but like call me back after you've done your first one.
Right.
It's usually how most conversations would go. Because nobody wants to be the guinea pig.
It's fact.
So in this case, the investor was like, okay, I'm interested. He finally called me. Said, listen, I just wired the $40,000 to buy the land. Let me know. And I just couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, I actually convinced this guy to send the money to do this deal. Like, okay, what do I do now? It's like I didn't believe it was gonna happen ever, but once it did, I kind of got over that little excitement. And then I was like, I kept getting deals, and I was like, I don't want to just pass these up. I might as well try and raise more.
Yeah.
And so that first investor ended up taking a few of them.
Really?
And so yeah, that's how it kind of scaled up.
And where were you finding the investors?
So this one was from a Facebook group. Yeah, all three of the first ones were just from random Facebook groups. I still haven't met the guy actually. It's been a year and a half.
Really? How many deals have you done with him?
So we bought 8, and so he's wired a good amount of money so far.
And you've never met the guy?
Never met the guy.
Just through a Facebook group.
This is why I'd say people like, at the end of the day, it's like if you want to get it done, you're gonna get it done.
That's a fact.
Because literally, you're going to resources that are available to everyone. You haven't done anything out of the norm. This man, you're literally.
This is one thing I've learned from the past few weeks, like just within our own business. The answers are literally all around us. It's about you spotting the fact that they are there, that they're present, and using and like pretty much utilizing these resources, like these social media sites, for the right reasons. A lot of people are going through social media just scrolling aimlessly and just being entertained by it. This is literally a resource to connect to anybody in the world with all types of backgrounds. You said because you have so much. You're so resourceful because you're just utilize like Alex said. Everybody has this available to them. So it's just about capitalizing on the opportunity while it's presented. Honestly, at the end of the day.
So then, okay. So now at that point, he wires you the money. I just want to kind of get through this deal because it's to me it's just crazy the fact that you pulled this off. But
I know me too. Still don't believe it.
Okay, so he wires you the money. You're shocked, like, okay, wow, he actually sent this to me, and this is real now. Because I went to that point, it still wasn't necessarily real.
Exactly.
Right.
But now, you get the money. It's like, okay, I actually got to buy this land now.
Right.
So you actually buy the land. How does it actually work as far as like construction and all that? Like, what was your experience like that with your first like construction? Because this was a duplex, just like the one you lived in. What was that whole experience like?
Yeah, so it was, again, I never managed a construction contractor before, so like I didn't know really what to do. I just figured like I'm a pretty decent guy in my opinion, and like I'm pretty fair. So like, listen, we had a contract up front, so like I figured everyone's gonna honor their contract. Sounds good on paper, right? And in practice, you really need to be on top of them. I was like, I didn't want to be a micromanager because like in the corporate world, like you hate that.
Right.
But a lot of times with kind of the smaller GCs, you almost have to micromanage to make sure stuff is done.
Right.
So, yeah, it was tough.
So you were managing the manager essentially
on
this first deal.
Yeah.
So okay, now I know it's essentially the thing about, to me, I feel like once you've done it, I feel like it's a lot easier than like flipping essentially because it's the same thing over and over now, and you pretty much know what to expect outside of like some issues with the city that probably come up. How was that like as far as? Oh, you said the first one just finished, like the refinance.
Yeah.
When was it? How long did the construction actually take?
So it actually took like 7 months, I believe. It should have only taken maybe like 4 or 5.
Right.
But again, like part of it was on me. Like some of the stuff I didn't know. Like for example, if you're building in Houston, you need to order the water meters for your duplex.
I saw you post that on social media.
Yeah. I was like, how would I know that? I can't Google that. Yeah. So this is this is why I say like I don't recommend people do exactly what I did because there's stuff that you can't just look up. You probably have to go through it.
I was going to ask a question similar to that because, of course, all of those investors that were telling you no, they knew what it took in order to get into a development deal like this. So, in what instances, I guess that could be one. What instance do you feel like they were right in the case? Like, dang, I guess that is why they would deny me. Like, what instance did you feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, like all the time, right? Like, okay, the contractor was, obviously not sticking to the timeline as well as we thought they would be. Yeah. Again, like the stuff with the city. It's like, okay, how are you going to navigate getting the approvals? I don't know. Like, again, this is stuff that like it makes sense why someone would tell me no up front. And
Right.
that's why I was never mad at them, because like, look, I get it. You're probably right. I'm gonna make some mistakes, which is why I try to build in a hefty profit margin so that
definitely.
like it makes up for it.
Right. So purchase price on this land was $40,000 on the land.
Yeah, basically it was like 38 or something.
Yeah.
No, sorry. The one that we can talk about that just finished, that one was 50. There's previous ones that were 40.
Okay, so that first one so purchase the land. What was the construction cost, and then like what was your total all-in cost, ARV? How did that deal actually end up?
Right.
Like what was the cash out, all of that?
Yeah, so the construction was, we bought it for 50. The construction was like 160 plus 10K for closing costs, like points, fees, things with the hard money lender. Probably another 6-8 grand in holding costs. All in, we were in it for like 250. 250. And then we did the ARV came in at 320.
Wow.
Okay.
And so we refinanced that 80% LTV, which was a 256 loan amount. So we pretty much pulled almost all of it except the closing costs for the loan.
Yeah. So it was essentially no money.
It's almost like a burr for new construction.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And that is absolutely first deal. That's crazy. So I love that because so I want to, for the people, I'm sure some people are probably confused about actually what we're talking about specifically. So essentially what you did, you purchased BRRRR. So BRRRR is an acronym for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. It's essentially a strategy to be able to buy a rental property with none of your own money, or essentially be able to pull any money you put in back out to be able to go buy the next one. Right. And so essentially what you did the same thing with a construction deal. And so essentially you buy the land, you buy or you construct a property, which is essentially the same thing as buying like a distressed property and fixing it up. And then you essentially, that raises the value of it. You bought it at a discount. That raises the value. 320 on a duplex is crazy, but I guess in Houston that's normal now.
Yeah.
What did you buy your first duplex for?
I bought mine for $275.
Wow, so that was $50,000 of appreciation just within a year.
Let me clarify. So the one that we refied was actually 500 square feet smaller. And
Really?
It
Wow.
for 320.
Man, that just tells you where the market was.
Yeah.
So 320. So essentially, it appraises for higher than what you're all in, and you're able to go to. Well, did you go to the same hard money lender for the refinance that you did for the initial construction, or how did that work?
Yeah, so they had a refinance, but I looked around and shopped for kind of the best option.
Right,
so
yeah.
I went with a different lender who could do 80%.
80%. Wow.
There's a lot of them can
Top
do
75,
75%.
yeah.
Yeah, so this one could do 80%, and so we wanted to pull as much cash out as possible, so we did 80.
Wow, 80%. So you essentially pulled out everything. Was able to pay back your investor plus. So you did an equity split with them, or was it a private loan?
Yeah, it was an equity split.
Okay, so that's another. So many things we can get into, but like, why did you want to like do equity splits versus private loans? Because essentially, I mean, I know it's more attractive for the investor as far as equity, but for you could essentially have the property, own the property 100%, and also, just be able to do it with none of your own money.
Yep.
So. What was the reasoning for that, or they just wouldn't accept that?
Wouldn't accept it. Yeah, trust me. If I could get that deal, if someone wants to finance it, I will pay you 15% all day. But they want the equity.
Yeah,
right.
So,
That makes sense.
I had to do what I do.
But the thing about equity is like, if it goes good, you happy. If it goes bad, you're not happy. But with a private loan, it's like either way they get money.
Right.
So it's pretty straightforward. But so that guy really trusted you then, because he said, look, I'm betting that this is going to go well, essentially, because a private loan he would have got guaranteed return, whatever. But I want to kind of touch on something here too, because I think a lot of people would try to say, oh, I want to do a private loan, but they're focused too much again on the money. You were probably more focused on just getting that experience on that first deal, right?
Exactly. I was basically, what I would tell people is like, yeah, at the time I really would have done it for free. Now,
Yeah.
I still threw in that equity just to show like some sort of like, okay, I'm incentivized here. But yeah, I just wanted to get it done and get the experience so that, now I can go to a bigger deal.
What was y'all split?
Like 70-30.
70-30.
Okay.
So they got 70
Yep.
and then you get 30. Man.
Right.
And you got essentially, now you own a part of that property, and y'all continue to do it more. And I'm sure your equities changes once you've, show more experience in those kind of things, right?
Precisely, yep. And then right now it's still rented, so now I'm getting a check each month and
Right.
managing it. And so yeah, everyone wins in that scenario.
Yes,
Man.
sir. And I really wanted to see like what was the initial projections that you were like showing to the investors like before the deal even happened. Were you seeing a 320 ARV, or was it like less than that before?
Way less than that. So, here's the thing, everything went up. So like construction cost was also way less.
Yeah.
So I was expecting to spend like maybe
220, 200.
Yeah, like basically all in for like 220, and then it was gonna be worth like 270. That's what I was projecting a year before, because we bought the land. That piece of land was in December of 2020, and so we just refinanced basically December of 2021. So a year before I was projecting be all in for 220, worth 270. So kind of the similar delta, but now everything just shifted up.
Right,
gotcha.
right. So I mean, it evens out essentially.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's what I was wondering.
So okay, now you do that deal, and you say you've acquired 20 lots since then. Now I feel like you were acquiring lots even during that first deal. You were still, or was that like your only one, and then I guess last year you just started like going crazy on them?
No, so yeah, I guess by the end of 2020, I think we had maybe like 7, 8.
So you were doing it while you had the first one, didn't you?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. What happened? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just say, like, what would happen was like people would send me deals, wholesalers, realtors.
You don't want to pass them up.
I'm like, hey, I mean, they're here. I might as well try to take them.
And you
the same investor?
Yeah. Same
was given to?
Not this one. So I had to go to different guys. So like some people only had a certain amount of money. So
Right.
like, they're like, listen, like I would love to, but I don't have any more cash. So that's when I'll try and find a new one.
So that they were more willing because you had a deal going on at that point?
Yeah. So like once I got the first investor, I said, I already got a guy. So
Did you go back to the first
that.
ones that told you no?
No.
Okay,
I probably should have.
You might go back to him now.
I was a
If you
little
say
salty, yeah.
you tell me you got 20, you got 60 leads right there now.
Now the price has gone up.
Yeah.
Now I need 50,
I like that.
50,
Yes, sir.
Hey, man. That's real.
So for my first investors, like I'm happy to keep it at 70-30 because they trusted me
trusted you.
when
That's
I
a
didn't have
fact,
any
man.
experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the people who told me no, I don't blame them, right? But like price has gone up for you, unfortunately.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
You told me no.
That's how you do it, man.
it's all good.
I love it. So okay, so then now so you're essentially now what is like, are you doing the same thing now? Is the goal to keep like buying these, refinancing? Because essentially now you're in development. You're a real estate developer at this point now. Is that what you want to be doing, or is that like, just kind of, I'm doing what works right now?
Exactly. It's the latter. So I'm just doing what the numbers tell me to do. Yeah. If the numbers make sense to flip, then I'll start flipping. But right now in Houston, the numbers tell me to develop. So.
And why do you think that is? Because that's interesting, because again, most people won't think about development as like, a strategy that can actually work, but intuitively or logically, it seems like it's just a lot more straightforward, because your construction costs are pretty straightforward versus, when you're flipping, it can be a lot more, unsure.
Yeah.
Is that why you essentially feel like development is better? Or like what is it for you?
Yeah, I mean, for now, that's what makes more sense, because again, like you can still make money flipping. Don't get me wrong. It was just for me because I have to hire a GC. Like
right.
now, I got to add on that cost. I got to get a construction loan. So like, there's some ways to optimize it. Like if you GC stuff yourself, or if you do stuff in cash. But for now, because I guess what I'm saying is like risk adjusted, it makes the most sense to develop, right?
Gotcha.
No short-term capital gains, because we're finishing stuff 12 months and a day out.
Yeah.
So long-term capital gains where obviously during that whole 12 months, it's likely going to appreciate at least a little bit.
Yeah.
And so if the numbers work day one, then they should probably work
Definitely
12 months later.
Yeah.
So you were doing these while you had a 9 to 5, right?
Right.
And so how did that look as far as like being able to do both? Because are you at the job and just like talking to contractors doing the job, or like what is going on there? Like how did that evolve over time for you?
Yeah. So this all happened during April 2020. So our job sent us home.
Okay.
Like in March. So
you're
this was
remotely.
all, this was all remote. And so the problem was last year, in 2021, they brought us back to the office.
Oh,
and it was awful. Yeah, because I'm trying to close my door and take calls. Go ahead and order that. And then trying to sneak calls, and it was just a lot because there's just too much going on. And being at the office, you can't really hide it.
You left your engineering 9 to 5, didn't you?
Just left it last month.
Shout out to you congrats
That's
on
a
that.
fact.
What was the mindset shift for that? Like, because now what are you doing now?
Really?
Like as far as
So I did join another company, so I still got a W-2 technically.
Okay.
Because again, what people don't realize, well, maybe they do realize, like development's like you're doing work for like 12 months for free,
Right.
more or less, right? Before there's any sort of payday. And obviously with the one I refinanced, you don't get anything because there's equity still in the property. So again, I'm not really making any money off of it. Anything I do make just kind of gets reinvested. But now I'm working as essentially a lender for people who are, needing fix and flips homes, or someone like myself who wants to do new construction, we can finance those people. So that's a new job.
I love that because you went and did something that synergizes really well with what you're doing.
That's a fact.
Yep.
So it's like you didn't just like go, get another job,
Engineering
anywhere,
job,
place.
Yeah.
It's like, let me go do something that's actually going to be beneficial for what I'm doing too. And you're probably learning so much now in like that as a loan officer now, essentially.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So I'm sure you're learning so much about the financing aspect of construction loans now, and that's just going to make you a better developer as far as like looking at things for your own projects.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's doing stuff like this, like meeting people. It's already what I like to do in real estate, like meet people, and then now I just say, oh, by the way, I also offer these loans if you ever need anything. So it's like a natural, like you said, synergy. It's like nothing feel added on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So this is what I wanted to get into though earlier, because how did obviously you got an African father. How did that go as far as leaving the 9-to-5 engineering job, the pinnacle of almost what you could be doing? It's like, yo, you come over here. It's like, yeah, I want my son to be an engineer. He's an engineer. This dude just left engineering. How did that go? Whenever you told him about that,
He doesn't know.
that's what I was.
He doesn't know.
Hey man,
He still doesn't know. Yeah, my mom knows. My little brother knows. I don't think they have the guts to tell my dad, and I don't know if I do either. Listen, he'll find out when he finds out, and it'll be too late at that point. So,
Man.
yeah. But see, I like that though, because it's like, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of what happened in my situation too. Because I'm Kenyan, so like
Gotcha.
my mom, she kind of she felt kind of way whenever I was telling her about I'm leaving the 9-to-5.
Right.
Engineering job too, so it's kind of like. But it's almost like to the point where you feel like I'll tell them when it's like going, a certain way, I'm doing really well, and then they can't dispute it. It's like there's nothing you can say at that point.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to prove myself.
Yeah. Wait for some proof.
Nah, I love that. That's super dope, man.
So-
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I know if you want to continue on, but one of the longer term questions for you. So, are you going to continue like on the development of residential side, or are you trying to like even move into commercial side? And like, what would be like the differences between the two for you?
Yeah, definitely want to get into something bigger. So that's kind of the goal, going forward, like next few years here, is try to do some sort of development deal on like a commercial side, so multifamily or something bigger, just because it scales more as you're doing more. So yeah, this was really just to get my teeth wet or get my feet wet.
You can get your teeth wet too. I mean, whatever you want to wet.
Either one, yeah. So like now that I feel like I've got a little bit of experience, it's a whole different ballgame in commercial though.
Yeah.
So it won't directly translate, but I think I'll have enough to like be able to be dangerous, so to speak.
Yeah. Right. So I know you're big on like networking and meeting all these different people, because I always see you networking on Twitter. It's just like meeting all these different. Real estate Twitter is like crazy. It's a crazy place. It's literally like a cheat code to like getting into real estate, I think.
You like hosted a real estate meetup like recently, didn't you? Like a couple weeks ago?
Last week. It was great. Yeah, made a bunch of people from there.
Yeah, so I'm sure, I know with commercial real estate, that's like, it's all about networking who you know with commercial. Residential, you can get away with like, kind of almost doing things on your own, like not necessarily all on your own, but it's more, it's easier to get away with it in there. But with commercial, it's like, no, there's no possible way. Yeah, I can get away with that.
Yeah, exactly. You need some relationship somewhere.
Yeah,
so, Twitter is a great place for it.
Yeah, no, and I wanted to mention that because a lot of people, I feel like they need to utilize Twitter like that, like utilize Twitter as a networking place, because Twitter is kind of weird because the way you can literally curate your feed to like literally just be a complete place of just connections and knowledge. It's crazy. Yep. It's literally crazy. So I love that. I think you're absolutely killing it. This is it's crazy to kind of see where you are now. I mean, you're only 25 years old, and you've done 20 now. That's 20 development deals that you're gonna have done. How many though? So you've completed one of them.
Only one.
Yeah.
That's why I said I'm still early. It still could go bad.
Yeah. So how many of those are you projected to like complete this year?
Yeah. So I mean, the 6 obviously are in construction. Like 2 of those should finish like next month. So those ones are pretty much already done. I would like to get to like probably another half of those 13, so at least like 6 or 7 of them. 6 or 7 this year? Nice. 6 or 7 on top of the 6 that we're finishing.
Right.
So like 12.
12 of them this year. Man, that's crazy. And this is all one thing I want to mention too, because I saw you tweet something. Actually, I had a screenshot it because I went to bring it up.
Yeah.
You were kind of talking about how you had closed this recent deal. It was like $170,000 assignment fee or assignment of contract on this deal. With only...
I haven't closed it yet.
Oh, you haven't closed it yet?
I haven't closed it yet.
But you just got under contract.
Correct.
Okay, so, but you did this with... You say you only have $15,000 in your checking account.
Now I got 10 because I had to put $5,000 earnest money. Yep. So if I don't get the money here, and the closing is next week. So
Wow.
yeah, the 5K could be gone.
Yeah.
But again, like the way I see it, the risk reward makes sense. If I can risk 5 to make 80,
It's worth
I'll
it.
do that all day.
Yeah. And that... So the reason I wanted to bring that up is because it goes back to the concept of like, say yes, figure out the rest later.
That's a fact, man.
It's like, just commit first, figure out the rest later.
Yep.
You know the money's out there.
Mm-hmm.
You see it's a quality deal. I don't have the money yet, but it's a quality deal. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to get the money.
Basically.
And I'm sure you're going to get the money. I'm sure you probably already got it lined up.
You got a lot of resources for it.
I don't know. It's looking a little shaky here,
Yeah.
so we'll see. I had a meeting before. I think I'll get it done, but yeah, it's been tough for sure.
Do you get all, like, each deal's at only one investor, or you do multiple investors in a deal?
Yeah, so every one of my previous deals has just been one investor.
Okay.
So they're just like, again, smaller deals, like just one property per.
Yeah.
So the problem with this one is that it's 3 houses on one lot. So now it's much bigger equity commitment versus like my previous ones.
Okay.
So that's why I'm having a little trouble, because to have one person come up with a couple $100,000 is a little tougher than one person coming up with like 80.
Right.
I might have some connections for you myself. We got to talk offline.
Hey,
No, for real.
hey, send them my way.
I just thought about somebody I talked to a couple days ago that might also be good for this purpose. But
Awesome.
one thing I really want to talk about too before we end up is the mentality that you have. Because you commit and find a way later. A lot of people are afraid to do that because they are afraid of like the fear of the unknown, or really the fear of failing. So like this could very well not work out as far as like this potential deal where you can lose that money.
Right.
Why are you not fearful of that though?
Oh, I'm a little fearful.
Of course you are fearful,
right?
but why is that fear not keep you from taking action though?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing, is like nothing gets done without some sort of risk. Like you got to get a little uncomfortable, like we talked about earlier. Like you're not going to grow, you're not going to get better, you're not going to do that next bigger deal if you're not willing to get a little uncomfortable and take some risk. So I see that this is like part of my education, so to speak. If it doesn't work out, chalk it up as an L and try to figure out what to do better on the next one.
Right. School of Hard Knocks tuition.
And that's powerful too, though, because I like what you said. That there is some fear in it. Because I heard something from Grant Cardone one time. He said, "Courage is not the lack of fear; it's the presence of fear, but you do it anyway."
Exactly.
And that's the difference between, like, yes, it's scary. It doesn't matter. I'm going to take the jump. I'm going to learn. If either I'm going to succeed or I'm going to learn from what I didn't do, I guess perfectly, and I'll just correct it for the next time around.
Exactly. Yeah, and what I tell people is like, in high school, I worked at Arby's all my like high school career. Like, I'm hustling, so I feel like I have to, like, I'm gonna go back there one day. Like that's my mindset. Like, listen, I need to make sure I do not go back there because I didn't like it. So it's basically like all your hard work will kind of pay off if you just kind of keep taking action, and something's gonna kind of poke through. And that's the way I see it. Is like this deal may not work out, but the next one probably will.
Right. I love it, man. There's so much that we could get into, but I mean, we've been pushing this for a minute.
Definitely, yeah.
And I know, we want to keep you here all day. So what we'll do to kind of wrap up the show is our Fast Five, which is essentially where we'll ask you 5 questions and then you answer them in 10 seconds or less. And we'll wrap up the show like that.
Welcome to the Fast Five.
So I'll take the first one and then we'll alternate. So first question, what does success mean to you?
Success means to me just essentially kind of liking what you do every day. Like for me, if you work a corporate job and like on Sunday you're like, man, I gotta go to work tomorrow. Like not having that feeling, that's to me, that's success. Honestly.
Yes, sir.
I love it.
All right, question number 2. What is your favorite money or business book?
Favorite business book. I really like. I like Sam Zell's book. I forgot the name of it. It's like. You guys can look it up. But you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, because I saw someone talk about him on Twitter, the billionaire real estate guy.
Yep.
Yeah,
so that's a really good business book.
Yeah, I was reading his bio. It's crazy, Sam Zell. Okay, cool. Third question. What would you rather have $1,000 a week for life or $1 million today, and why?
Give me the $1 million. I know what to do with
Yeah.
it. Yeah. If you don't know what to do with it, then maybe take the 1,000. But I think the $1 million I can make something happen with.
Right. That's a whole difference right there. Question number 4. If you could go back and change anything about your journey, what would it be?
Yeah, good question. I think I wish I could have gotten real estate earlier. Like maybe got my real estate license in college. Like, single deal or 2 during college. I mean, I can add up $7-10 grand here and there.
Yeah. I love it. So you wouldn't have did engineering?
I probably would have, because like it sets you up as like a really good worst case scenario. I'll go back to
That's
it.
a fact.
Right? But like
your worst case scenario is better than most people's average.
And yours too. Your guys' too. Right? So,
yeah. Love it. So last question: where can people find out more about you?
Definitely on Twitter at Donovan Builds, and then on Instagram at Donovan_651.
Cool. I love it. And then we getting a whole lot of listeners now, and so I know somebody's listening. You might just get an investor from this episode. Hopefully, if someone does reach out to you, definitely let us know, and because I want to make sure that we got. I want to see the type of people we got. We got.
Honestly, to be straight up, I would love to see like the people that start reaching out to the guests after the fact.
Yeah. So, but nah, this has been absolutely amazing, bro. You are killing it, and I'm telling you, bro. I definitely see you being big, man, in the future. And I know you don't want to hear it.
Keep shaking his head, man.
Yeah, this is the most humble dude ever.
I'm trying to be like you guys.
To see the action that he's taken at a young age is us being young as well. We 25 too, and it's like I understand the mentality. Yeah. Like to do this stuff, especially at this age, I understand it. It's kind of like, you just view things differently, or you view things maybe how other people do, but you just view it at a lot earlier, time in life. And so to be able to just continue to do that, I feel like it's a superpower. I always say being young is a superpower. It's an advantage in business and real estate, whatever, because people, they gravitate towards other young people. I don't know why, but they just do, because they just, feels like, man, I want to ride the train with this person wherever they're going, because they can see the projection long term. Right. And that's kind of what I see here. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to get you on here because I definitely want to network with you, bro.
Appreciate that.
Before you get too big and stop replying to DMs.
Man, I'll never stop replying.
Yeah, man, I gotta.
You're gonna have to change your heart when you have 100,000 DMs rather than just a couple.
Bro.
That's for you guys.
I wanted to definitely get this dude in the network. So it's been a pleasure having you here. We appreciate you coming on the show, bro.
Thanks, man, for having me on. It's been awesome.
Well, that's it for this episode of the Money Monopolizers podcast. New episodes will be released every Thursday and will be available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Just search Money Monopolizers wherever you listen to podcasts. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, we'd appreciate it if you left us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Find us on Spotify, wherever the case may be. You can also follow us on Instagram at Money Monopolizers, or on Twitter at The Monopolizers. We post informative content on there that'll keep you engaged, so be sure to check that out and share those posts. But until then, we're out of here.
You've been listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. To learn more about how you can be in control of your money, visit moneymonopolizers.com. We'll catch you next time when Alex and Marlon share more personal finance and wealth creation tips with you. Now it's time to take action.